Once upon a time, there was a queen. She lived in a very hot and dusty village in India. She was a very good and kind queen, and everybody loved her. She had everything she wanted and was very happy. But there was one thing this queen hated. She hated to bathe. She hadn't bathed in a week. She hadn't bathed in a month. She hadn't bathed in a whole year. She was the smelliest queen that had ever lived. One day, the smell became too much even for the queen herself, and she sadly said,
"I think it is time I had a bath."
So she began to walk down to the river. All the villagers whispered to themselves, "The queen is going to have a bath. The queen is going to have a bath." And they all rushed down to the river to get the best view. When the queen stepped into the clear water, everyone cheered. The queen washed her hair, she brushed her teeth, scrubbed her body. Finally, when she had finished her bath, she called out,
"Bring me my royal towel."
She dried herself and stepped out of the water, but she saw that her feet were still dirty.
"Oh dear, I forgot to wash them."
So she stepped back to the water and soaked her feet again. But as soon as she stood on dry land, her feet were dirty again.
"Oh dear, I didn't wash them well enough. Bring me my scrubbing brush."
The queen scrubbed her feet till they shone, but still when she stepped on the ground, they were dirty. This time the queen was furious. She shouted for her servant.
"Gabu!"
Gabu came running and bowed low before the queen.
"Gabu, the queen has had a bath. She is clean, but the earth is dirty. There is dust everywhere. You must clean the earth so there's no more dust and my feet stay clean." "Yes, Your Majesty." "You have 3 days in which to rid the land of dust. And if you fail to do so, do you know what will happen to you?" "No, Your Majesty." "Do!"
The queen marched back to the palace. She asked all the villagers to help her. They took their brushes and brooms, and 1, 2, 3, they all began to sweep. Swish, 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 all day long until the dust rose up and filled the air in a thick dark cloud. Everyone was coughing and sneezing and bumping into each other. The queen shouted, She asked all the villagers to help her. They took their buckets to the well and filled them up to the brim with water. And 1, 2, 3, they all began to pour. Slush, 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 slush. There was so much water that it spread across the land and began to rise. First it was up to their ankles, then their knees, then their waist, and then up to their chests. The queen climbed to the top of the highest mountain where the water lapped at her toes and shouted,
"Gabu, where are you?"
"Yes, Your Majesty."
"I asked you to rid the land of dust, not turn our village into a swimming pool. You have 1 more day left, or doot."
Oh dear. I've run out of ideas. I could put the queen in an iron room with no windows or doors, no chinks or cracks, not even a speck of dust could creep in. But I don't think she will like that.
Then Gabu had a marvelous idea.
Of course, why didn't I think of this before? Everyone has a needle, a thread, and a little piece of leather. Leather is tough. We will cover the land with leather.
She asked all the villagers to help her. Needles were threaded, and knots were tied, and 1, 2, 3. They all began to sew. Stitch, 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 all day long. The huge piece of leather was spread across the land, and it fitted perfectly. It stretched from the school to the well, from the temple to the palace, and all the way down to the river.
Yes, we have done it. I'll go and tell the queen. Yay!
Then she smiled. The ground looked clean, very clean indeed. She put one foot on the leather and it was spotless. The queen walked across the leather.
This is splendid, comfortable, and clean. Well done, Gabu. Well done.
Suddenly, out of the crowd stepped a little old man. Everyone had quite forgotten him. He bowed low before the queen and spoke in a very quiet voice.
Your Majesty, how will anything be able to grow now that the land is covered with leather? The grass will not be able to push its way through. There will be no vegetables or flowers and no new trees. The animals will be hungry and there will be nothing for us to eat. Your Majesty, you know you don't have to cover the land with leather just to keep your feet clean. It is really quite simple.
The old man took out of his pocket a large pair of scissors. He bent down and began to cut the leather very carefully all around the queen's feet. Then he took 2 laces from his pocket and tied each piece of leather to the queen's feet, and he said,
Try them on, Your Majesty.
The queen looked down at her feet covered in leather and frowned. She had never seen anything like it. She put 1 foot forward.
Very good.
She took another step.
This is splendid, comfortable, clean, and the grass can grow.
Then the queen walked, then she ran, and she jumped.
Yay! I can walk here, here, and here. I can walk anywhere and my feet will always stay clean.
What was the queen wearing on her feet? That's right. She was wearing shoes, and they were the first pair of shoes ever to be made, and people have been wearing them ever since.